We also see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refuting the logic or the claims of many of the present day Christians that Allah has taken a son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how can it be while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala owns the whole world?
وقالوا اتخذ الله ولدا سبحانه بل له ما في السماوات والأرض كل له قانتون بديع السماوات والأرض وإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وقال الذين لا يعلمون لولا يكلمنا الله أو تأتينا آية كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بينا الآيات لقوم يوقنون.
Being transactional when it comes to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, one of the ideas that we can see from the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us of previous people is many of us subconsciously start thinking like, I will only worship if things are going my way. So if we start worshipping, we start making dua, and things don't go our way, we start deteriorating. We start turning away from the religion of Allah. Is that a transactional nature that we are in? Even if we were to be, obviously we are becoming desensitized about all the benefits and all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we start becoming like, okay, you know what? What if I go to this grave and I start worshipping the grave, or I start worshipping an idol, or I start following a different religion and I ask for something? If I get that, then I will believe in that way of life. So many people go to all these grave worshipping or different religions, so on and so forth, and their criteria is, if it's giving me something that I want, then I'm going to worship that thing. Well, that's just worshipping your desires. So whatever will give you that, you are going to follow that. It's not about worshipping the true Lord. It's not about following the commandments, the value system, because you trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So think where we might be doing that in our life. And it can be an extreme form of worshipping following a false religion, or worshipping a deity or an idol, or worshipping at a grave, and it could be very subtle. So something really important for us to reflect in our lives. Secondly, we also see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refuting the logic or the claims of many of the present day Christians that Allah has taken a son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how can it be while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala owns the whole world? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something to happen, He just says be, and it happens. So why would He take a son, and what would it mean for Him to take a son and to have him sacrificed? So that's just something for people who might be following or tempted by this ideology to think about and to reflect and see if it makes sense or not.